Hey there, I am here to talk to you about the collaboration project for the first semester in science. Now, this collaboration project, when you're first learning about it, I just want you to take the time to understand what it's about. This project is not due until, wait for it, January. Yeah, right now when I'm making this video, it's October. This assignment is not due until January. So you have October, November, December, and part of January to complete it. That's several months of time. So I'm going to show you the ins and outs of this collaboration project. For 7th grade, you're really not even going to be starting it until we get into Module 2. So you are going to spend the first few days just going through the rubric, understanding the parts of it and knowing what you need to do. So let's get into it. I'm going to scroll down on the course card, and here is the folder for collaboration. You are able to view it. When you open that document, you're going to see there's a checklist. There are information pages, and then there is the actual submission page. So if we take a look at the checklist page, what that tells us is that you have one collaboration project due each segment. Now, segment is another word for semester. So segment 1 collaboration, which is worth 50 points. That is a large part of a grade. That is a major assignment, just as big. It's a little bigger than a lab. So make sure you really take your time to work through this carefully and slowly. Again, you have like 3 months. Semester 1, you have a collaboration. And again, in semester 2, there'll be a different type of activity for the collaboration then. All right, so here it describes it describes different methods to do it. You're going to follow the directions that I'm giving you, so you don't need to really rely too heavily on this. And we're going to go on to the next page, which really gets into describing what you're going to do. Okay, here is the little box that basically tells you the gist. You have the opportunity to submit one collaboration assessment in each segment or semester. You may complete the collaboration at any time, but you are encouraged to submit it before you take the segment or semester exam. That's in January. It's best to wait until you have completed Module 2, Lesson 1, called Biological Interactions. You aren't going to be able to do this project until many students or all students have finished this lesson. So that's why I said right now, you're really just going to watch this video. You might, start thinking about what the grading rubric looks like and how you're going to approach the assignment and make plans, but you're not going to begin any work until students have submitted their own assignment for 2.01 biological interactions. So what is that assignment? It is a letter. So for 2.01, you're going to be reading the letters that students have written to the Everglades National Park on controlling their python population. You, in turn, are also going to be writing your own letter and submitting it there for other students to look at and review. So keep that in mind when you write your letter. This is an assignment that's going to be posted for your fellow students to see. Not only will they see it, they may choose yours to reflect on and give feedback on and to do a peer review. That is your collaboration project. Your collaboration project is to find another student's letter and conduct a peer review on that letter. Okay, so you're going to make note of whether you feel they made a strong and valid point for solving the Python problem, if they had good rationale, good evidence, and good reasons. And once you've completed reading their letter, you're going to submit the answers to these 4 questions right here. Question number 1, what is the name of the student at whose letter that you read? That's an easy one to answer, hopefully. Number 2, do you think your peer made a valid point for controlling the Burmese python population? Cite evidence explaining why or why not. Now in ELA, you learn a lot about how to cite evidence. Citing evidence says the author wrote, the text stated, and then evidence is cited in parentheses when using a direct quote, or paraphrasing in your own words basically what they said. So that has two questions. Number 2, did the writer make a valid point? And what evidence do you have to support your answer? Number 3, do you think your peer made a successful plan? And again, cite evidence explaining why they made a successful plan or why they didn't. Finally, number 4, is there anything you would add to your peer's plan or change about their plan? What things could you support them and say, hey, I have another idea to add? Or what would you say, thinking about the situation, that might not be a great plan. Here's what I would do instead, and explain your reasoning. All right, so basically, we're waiting for lesson 2.01 to be finished in order to even begin this collaboration project. But let's go ahead and take a look at the grading rubric so that you understand how you're going to be graded. You can see that I'm going to be grading you as a skilled scientist, a developing scientist, or a novice scientist. And here are the areas you can get your points on. Whether or not you list the student's name of the letter you reviewed. Easy 7 points right there. Was there a valid argument for how to control the situation? And here, if you give multiple pieces of evidence, that is a skilled scientist. If you did not give multiple pieces of evidence, a multiple means more than one. You would fall as a developing scientist. If you do not have if you did not give a good reason for your thoughts, or you do not have evidence, that comes over here to a novice scientist. I'll be looking at your plan for a solution. Did you look at their plan for a solution and give reasons for why you think they had a good plan or not with evidence? Multiple pieces of evidence, that would be a skilled scientist. A developing scientist would lack those multiple pieces of reasoning or evidence. They would not have multiple, maybe just one. And a novice scientist really wouldn't have any evidence or reasoning at all. So make sure you answer those questions and you answer them with careful evidence. That's what the grade is going to reflect. Did you provide them with any recommendations? And did you explain those recommendations? Do you have a complete statement about changes? I really want you to give suggestions. Don't say, I don't have any ideas, because that would fall here into lacking recommendation and it would not earn you points. And yes, this will be graded for spelling and grammar. I'm a former ELA teacher, so I will be looking for capitalization at the beginning of sentences, ending marks at the end of every sentence, appropriate use of commas, all of those things. So if there are few or no errors, you would be a skilled scientist. If you have a few errors, it happens. It means you're learning as a developing scientist. If there are many, many errors in grammar and spelling, that would be considered a novice scientist. You have tools at your disposal to use to help you with the grammar and the spelling. Use them. All right, so this is the plan for your collaboration project. Again, take the time to look over the rubric yourself. Once the lesson for 2.0 is available, which will happen at the end of the week, October 7th, those lessons will be available to look at for the synchronous students, meaning I meet with you 3 times a week. If you are an asynchronous student, you should be able to look at that lesson right away. And as always, if you have questions as you work through this collaboration project, grab the link for setting up an appointment with me. Send me an email. I am more than happy to help you out. Bye, guys.